Hey yo, football fans, it's another great year. Fantasy football fiends, grab your beer. Giving you the best draft tips for all your picks. Starts and sits to the waiver wire fix. From my drafts galore to stats that's hardcore. Triple F does it all, have y'all screaming more. So sit back, relax, let the experts prevail. JT Magnum, Siggy Guns never fail. What's up, fantasy football fans? My name is JT Magnum. Welcome to 2015 Fantasy Football Fiends Top 10 Busts this year. I love to talk about the bust because, oh man, it's so hard to predict busts, especially this early on. It's I call it the preseason because no preseason games are played yet. I like to watch preseason games and then make my determination of fantasy football stuff after that. So you probably get a lot better predictions after the preseason starts, because then you get your gauge on who's starting, you get your gauge on what's going on, how the NFL teams are going to use players and things like that. Injuries happen, of course, and other people are thrust into the starting lineups, and just stuff happens. This is how the NFL works. But I'm going to talk about my preseason busts, my top 10 who I think are going to be busts this year, at least from my standpoint of doing research. Basically what I look at. I'm not ever 100% correct. I think I predicted last year somebody was going to be, I forgot who I predicted last year was going to be a bust, ended up being a stud. And I was like, oh God, why did I say that? But that's just, how it works. That's how fantasy football is. It's all about predictions. It's all about trying to, hopefully make the right predictions. And that's it. So down there, if you see there, MagnumSportsNetwork.com, feel free to bookmark that. That's my new website. You can see all your up-to-the-minute fantasy football stuff on there, NFL blogs, NBA blogs, other sports blogs, sports gaming. Our sports shows are on there with, Siggy V and I. Siggy V is not here at the moment. He's going to be with me the next couple weeks before the season starts, doing our rankings and doing things like that. Doing a mock draft, and then we'll start the season off, obviously, week 1 with start them and sit them and everything. We're going to be doing live shows this year. We're going to be doing one live show a week, actually, to let you guys, basically come to us, ask us a question. You get an hour to ask us any fantasy football questions you want. We'll try to do up-to-the-minute fantasy football stuff on there. And like I said, we have the website now for up-to-the-minute, injury reports, quick articles on things, on rankings, quick articles on who to start this week and things like that, with more breakdowns, because we can't do an hour show on YouTube, breaking down every player and why we feel like starting them. But we can on a website, because we can write articles about that, and it's easier for you to read it instead of having us do it on a video, and why we chose certain players and stuff like that. So So that's why I chose to make a website. It's a little easier for you guys, and it's also easier for you guys to catch our other shows and things like that. But if you like the channel, feel free to subscribe if you like the content. If you're new to the channel, I've done this for 2 years now. I've helped a few people win some championships. I haven't helped, obviously, everybody win a championship, but that's not how, fantasy football works. So like I said, it's all about hard work, dedication, researching and things like that, and, following guys like me who like to make some bold predictions. I like to talk about the little guys, things like that. So that's just how I roll. So let's get into it. The top 10 busts of the year. At number 10, Joe Flacco. No Torrey Smith. We got hurt Dennis Pitta from last year. Don't know how he's going to come back from injury. I think Flacco's going to struggle this year. Justin Forsett's coming off a great season. How he's going to run, I have no clue this year. I don't know if that offensive line is still, going to be able to hold up for Flacco. I just think he's going to be under a lot more pressure this year. I think the defense isn't as great without Haloti Ngata, so they're not going to be on the field longer. The defense will not be on the field as long. And I don't see, or the defense might be on the field longer, I should say. And I don't see Joe Flacco just having the greatest of seasons for the Ravens. We'll see what happens with that, but he's got a rookie in Brashad Perriman, who I think is going to be a good player. I think he's going to get a lot of touches. I think he's going to do well, but I don't see him as being the type of, I don't see the Ravens as being much of a contender as they were last year. They gave the Patriots fits in that playoff game. I don't see them being as much of a contender this year as they were last year, especially with Flacco not having the weapons he's had in the past. So we'll see what happens with that, but I don't really like him too much. Kenny Stills at number 9. No Breeze, and there's more wide receiver competition than ever in Miami, especially with rookies. Devontae Parker there. They got just a stable of wide receivers, and Kenny Stills benefited from having that Drew Brees offense that that Sean Payton offense that just, you know, they throw a lot of deep balls. He was able to, you know, catch some quick screens, do things like that. And I think, you know, being in Miami where they're more run oriented, more play action with Tannehill, I don't see him as having like the best, you know, quote unquote season, especially with all the receivers they have in Miami. Number 8, Carson Palmer. I think one of those things where he got hurt before in his knee and he came back. He did okay. But I think it's going to be one of those things where it's all psychological, and he doesn't have the best offensive line. I know they signed Mike Iupati, but Iupati's not a pass blocker. Iupati's more of a run mauler blocker, kind of that kind of style. And he's gotten beat a lot, especially last year. Colin Kaepernick ate a lot of sacks last year because of Iupati. He's one of the main reasons. And Carson Palmer being back there, I don't know. I just don't see him bouncing back that great this year from knee injury. He's a good quarterback. He's a great, you know, he's a great, pretty much great QB. He's had just bad problems with knees, and I just think that it's going to be one of those cases where it's hard to bounce back from that kind of knee injury, and he could get hurt again, or his accuracy can go down. You know, you get a little nervous. You know, you throw the ball a little hesitant, and I don't see Carson Palmer having a great season. He might have a good season, but not a great season. Nick Foles is number 7. Benefited from, I think, Chip Kelly's offense, and the Rams don't have the weapons. I don't see the Rams as having a loaded talent of weapons that's going to help Nick Foles out. So I don't think Nick Foles is going to have one of those, you know, 27 touchdowns, 2 interception seasons. You saw last year he struggled. I think he's going to struggle more with the Rams. At number 6, Matt Forte. Getting a little older now, and he's going to see less of a workload, especially with Jeremy Langford behind him, the rookie. I don't see them using him like they have in the past, where they've used him for run game and pass game. I mean, he is utilized, but I don't think they're going to use him as much. I think Jay Cutler likes to throw the ball a lot, especially, you know, fling it a lot. I just don't see him as being the type of guy that's going to get a lot more carries, especially at his age. They're going to try to limit his carries a lot more. And like I said, very promising rookie in Jeremy Langford behind him. They're going to try to, you know, utilize the double backs, I have a feeling. And I just think Matt Forte's, you know, unfortunately he's going to go to bust status because of it. Because his when your numbers decrease, that's what happens. You go instantly to bust status. So number 5, Julius Thomas. No Peyton Manning now to throw to you, buddy. He has Blake Bortles, but is he the type of guy that's going to flourish? You're going to see now him playing on a different kind of offense, him playing in a different style. Can he block? Can he do things like that? We'll see what happens with him, but he's also been one of those guys that have been a little bit injury prone, especially last year. And like I said, no more Peyton Manning. Number 4, LaShawn McCoy. This is a guy who was pretty much a bust last year. I mean, given the year before, the talent and what he did the year before, you know, last year's stats weren't so good, and now this year he's going to a Buffalo team who's supposed to be really, really good, but it's the defense that's supposed to be really good. They got a lot of speed on offense, but no quarterback. They have E.J. Manuel, Matt Castle, and Tyrod Taylor. I mean, none of those guys strike me as any bit of a threat. You're going to see a lot of 8-man fronts going against the Bills. They don't care about the speed, especially when they got no quarterback to throw the ball to them. I think if they had somebody there at least respectful, you know, LaShawn McCoy might see a lot more holes. The Bills are a running team. They do have good run blocking, but you know, they had that Greg Roman offense where you got to see the holes, you got to know where to cut, and LaShawn McCoy's a dancer. He's a guy that likes to dance in between tackles, make his move, and do. He's shifty, he's good. When he breaks loose, he's good. I just don't see that happening, and I don't see him being like the main. I just don't see him getting like 1,800 yards like he has in the past, 1,600 yards. I don't see it happening. Number 3, Lamar Miller from the Dolphins. He might lose his job and definitely losing carries to Jay Ajayi. From the rookie from Boise State. Lamar Miller is a guy that, you know, he ran for 1,000 yards last year. He had 5.1 yards per carry. He's a good back. Problem is he's not durable enough, and I don't see him as a guy that can handle a long season workload. He's going to lose a lot of carries, especially to a promising rookie like that. He's going to probably get around 700 yards. He's going to, you know, he's going to score you maybe 5 or 6 touchdowns, maybe 5 touchdowns. And to me, that's just bust status when you can have somebody, you know, rushing over 1,000 yards with 9 touchdowns, 9 to 10 or plus touchdowns. I mean, Lamar Miller is not a guy you want to pick in the high rounds. Drew Brees at number 2. I know this is a shocker. This is one of my shockers, but he doesn't have the weapons anymore. And the Saints are now shifting to a more run-first philosophy. You saw a lot more last year with Mark Ingram and the backs from the Saints, Pierre Thomas, Mark Ingram, those guys. They just ran the ball a lot last year, and now Mark Ingram's coming back. They have C.J. Spiller. I just think Drew Brees is going to throw the ball a lot less, especially he's getting older. He's not flinging it as much as he used to, and especially no Jimmy Graham. There's only Brandon Cooks. Marquez Colston's getting older. It's just he doesn't have the same weapons that he used to have on that team to be able to just, fling it out like 50 times a game. He's not going to do that this year. They're shifting more of a play action style, run-oriented offense. And I think Drew Brees' stats going to suffer because of that. He's not one of those, 40 touchdown passes and 8 and 10 interceptions years. I mean, last year you saw him, I think he threw like 30-something touchdowns and like 17 touchdowns. So we'll see what happens with that. But I think he's going to be one of the main busts this year. Number one bust of the year, Jeremy Maclin. He went to the wrong team. The Kansas City Chiefs not one wide receiver caught one touchdown pass this year. Alex Smith does not throw to wide receivers. He's never been good with wide receivers. He just makes NFL wide receiver stats go straight down. And I think Jeremy Maclin's going to suffer for it. I know they think, well, he has Maclin now. He has all these other weapons. He's going to be good. Never happens that way. Alex Smith just, for some reason, never just cannot throw the balls to wide receivers. He loves running backs and tight ends. That's just how he does. He's a dink and dunk quarterback, always has been, and Jeremy Maclin's stats going to suffer for it. So if I were you guys, do not draft Jeremy Maclin early, especially because I just do not see him getting any kind of stats whatsoever this year. He might get maybe 1 or 2 touchdowns if he's lucky, but his stats are going to decline big time. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section about my top bust. Let me know who your bust might be this year. And yeah, keep the comments coming, guys. And stay tuned for the next one. I'm going to do all my rankings from quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, and defense. We're going to start with the quarterbacks, and we're going to go all the way to defense. And yeah, stay tuned for a lot more. So for JT Magnum and Fantasy Football Fiends, I'm out. Peace.